Hello. Happy Monday. I'm waiting for Kate to join me, and then we're going to talk to you about feeling stuck. Yeah, figured that would be a pretty good topic for a Monday morning, first day of February. I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about this, but I know for me, February is often the most stuck month of the year. Hey, Nicole or Jeremy. We're just going to talk about feeling stuck today once Kate gets in here. Yeah. Oh, hi, bye. Before you go, what's the month that you might feel most stuck in the year, or like something that makes you feel stuck? Kate and I were talking this morning, and we were both like, well, we feel kind of stuck. Like, I don't know that we really want to talk today, but that seems like something we could talk about. So as soon as she gets in here, yeah, February, same. That's what I was saying right before you popped on. February 1st seems like a good time to talk about getting unstuck. Thanks for stopping by, Nicole. Hey, Sarah. As soon as Kate gets in here, we're going to talk about feeling stuck, what we do when we feel stuck. Oh, there she is. Hey, Kate. Yeah, let's get you in here. Yeah, same, Sarah. Winter. February especially. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Look at us in
Oh,
the twinkle lights.
Maggie Scruggs.
Love that. Love it.
Same.
I was just telling them that February feels very stuck to me, and also that we talked earlier, and we were like, what do we even have to talk about? And we were like, we should talk about this. Cool.
Let me tell you though, self-work, this entire practice, the first things first is being honest about where you're at.
I know. Okay, and something else we're going to talk about soon is like consistency. And like when I think honesty, I think about how my friend Molly Casey one time told me consistency is honesty. And it's like the consistency of being really honest with ourselves is how we actually get somewhere new. Because like I can be honest one day and be like, I feel whelmed. But if I don't,
Well,
but if I don't do that consistently, then I never really kind of move forward. There's no movement at all. Not that it has to be forward. There's like no movement at all, right? There's nothing can shift around. If it's just once I'm like, I feel whelmed.
mhm.
So
Wow,
consistency and being really honest, huh?
and I like that you just even put that idea of consistency into perspective. Like, I know for me, something in the past that has kept me really stuck is this idea of feeling like I have to behave consistently when the truth is that what I really need to be doing consistently is being honest about how I feel and then going from there.
Yeah, like what okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about consistency maybe another time. But
Okay.
that's something to consider, right? Like what is the definition of consistency?
Yeah, and then like expectations for what do we think we should be consistent about? All of that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, we'll talk about consistency later this week, I think.
Okay.
Right now
I
I
love
just
that.
still feel stuck. Like
I
I
feel really stuck.
let's see, I could probably take this off of my phone off of its little stand and show you my current situation, my stuck situation in my little tiny house. Can you turn the camera? Yeah. So I got really whelmed at my purse and I dumped it on the floor. And then I was like, I think I'll clean out my fridge. And then I put all that in the sink. And then I opened my food cabinet and was like, that's a mess. Should leave that open for later. And then I was like, but I also need to sit down and like do payroll. And then what I really want to do is lay on my bed and turn on Sex in the City and like, I don't know, Drink
numb
some.
out a
We'll say
little
drink
bit
some tea, but I
and have some tea.
tea. Maybe more like a hottie toddy.
Yeah, I love that. It's hot toddy season.
Yeah. Anyway, feeling stuck and then noticing like, oh, there's like something has gotten sticky. And like I used to maybe think that when I felt stuck that was like a bad thing or an indicator that something was like really wrong. But I think like what I've learned with myself and then also in relationship with you is like we are just in a constant state of like ebb and flow, and that stuckness comes and it goes. And so, and there's unfortunately, hate to give you away this secret too soon in this IGTV, but there's no formula for XYZ will solve your stuckness this very moment. Now, Kate and
Hmm.
I do have a really useful exercise that we're going to give to you later this week about getting unstuck. But even that is like, it's nothing is guaranteed. It's your process.
Hmm.
And, you know, I think we talk about this a lot. It's like the tendency is to want to run away from the process, right? Like, tell me how I can fix this and I'll fix it.
Hmm.
Or I'll ignore it.
Yeah, or numb it out. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm feeling like this feeling of stuckness is here for me right now, today, yesterday. Oh my God, yesterday the most. And then like what goes along with that for me right now is also this feeling of bored. I feel bored. And I am noticing also that I have a lot of like judgment towards feeling bored. And so like, and I haven't really like started this process for myself in this moment, but like, you know, I grew up hearing, and even I remember seeing a lot of this on the internet at the beginning of the pandemic about how only bored people get bored. Only boring people are bored or whatever thing is. And so like I grew up hearing that, like that boring people are the only people that get bored. And now I'm like, well, I'm feeling a little bit of boredom. And what I know about boredom is that I don't feel like I've been here before for like an extended period of time, like for sure, moments, days of boredom, like for sure, whatever, but not in the same kind of like extended period that I'm feeling now. But what I know about boredom is that creativity often comes with boredom. And so I imagine that that's coming. And that's helping me feel less like I know I'm not going to be stuck here forever in this feeling of stuckness, but I am here now. And so I am going to be honest about that and then be able to go from there.
Yeah. And we know that you're not boring.
Thanks.
Just because you're having a moment of boredom does not actually mean that you're boring. You know, like it could be actually be telling us a feeling of boredom can be telling us a lot of things. Like I know that like at the beginning of the pandemic, what boredom was trying to tell me was that was feeling bored was almost like a response, like an automatic response to slowing down, which was kind of like bringing to light my like fear and self-protection mechanisms of like filling up space. Like I thought I was bored and like boredom was the feeling, but actually, and what that was showing me was how much I had just been filling the space.
Mm-hmm.
Because how much do we call space boredom?
Totally. I mean, yes, that is like part of what I'm experiencing is um, like something that I'm really feeling is like every day feels the same for me right now. And I'm like, okay, and there's parts of that yeah, like a lot of that I love. Like I'm getting to fill my days with things that I love and with people that I love and there's like this sense of inspiration that is like missing right now. That's just what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I get that. And like for me, it's been like I actually have felt very kind of like soft and inspired and like even like I was calling it like a little floaty last week and felt like the energy of creativity, but it didn't feel like a productive creativity. And so then this week I'm like trying to start the week with these like tasks that have to get done and I'm like I have to do these, I really actually have to do these things and I'm in the middle of doing them and I'm like this is the worst. Like I'm not, this is so boring. And there are also tasks that are like I don't know that they can be creatively reinvented.
Well, and something that we talked about earlier, like there are some things that, like we have payroll. Payroll. I do payroll twice a month. It is innately boring to me. And so, like, yeah, it's like, what are my expectations for payroll? I don't have any expectations that payroll should be fun, but something that's nice for me right now is that I do have this, like, I do know how to do payroll, and I know like it comes on certain days. It's like for me right now, it's something to like expect. Hey, you have to do this, and this is kind of like a place you have to be. And to be honest, like those things right now are kind of nice. There's no like creativity to payroll. It's just like it's numbers based, and it's just data, and then it goes, which for me that those kinds of tasks are feeling okay right now because I'm like you have to do this thing. But then in those times where I'm like okay, I want to feel kind of creative or like inspired or whatever, those kinds of things I'm having a harder time feeling like,
Mm.
especially today and yesterday.
Mhm.
I go through these like phases of it. So it's like
Mhm.
there's the consistent pieces that I know how to do that I'm just kind of like good at, and those things are kind of nice to me. Like when they come, it's like the creativity part feels just like really stuck.
Mm. Hmm. See, I'm feeling like I don't want to do any of it.
None of it. None of it. Get out of here with
and I
everything I know how to do.
I don't feel productively creative.
Hmm.
I just feel like I don't know, float me down a river and give me a book and like I just like I kind of want to tap out a little and just like be floaty and then it's like okay, but that's okay and payroll still has to get done or whatever the task is. And so kind of like navigating the stuckness, like something that again it's like there's not a formula for getting out of every stuck situation you feel in that will work every time in the same amount of time with the same amount of energy. There is no XYZ like that. So it's like navigating the sticky feeling or like feeling stuck in a way is a practice of self-study and self-inquiry. Um, and like something that has really helped me in allowing those times of stuckness to come and go and flow is curiosity, which to me I feel like having something to be curious about feels like the antidote to boredom. And so it's like, okay, so I could be like really bored in this stuck energy, or I could kind of like get curious.
Totally.
And like for me, like I don't think I've ever just dumped my whole purse out on the floor without and like at all, but then also like not immediately like done something about it. And I'm like, curious. New way of doing something. When I told Kate before we got on this call, what I know to be true is that I will not leave that there all day. I will not step over it 15 times. I will absolutely clean it up at some point today. And what I would have done otherwise, though, is like taken like three things out and been like, now there's plenty of room in here, but really can't find anything anytime I go to my purse. And that's kind of what the stuckness is like getting curious enough to put it all on the table. Let's get really honest. Where could this be coming from? Instead of just like moving the I don't know, what do I do? I had like 4 books in there. Instead of just like taking the books out and leaving the rest, it's like let's just dump it all on the table. Let's make a mess a little and see what we can come up with.
Wow. Okay. I love where you're going with that, Ruby. Yes. Okay. Yes. Because it's like, okay, when I think I'm just gonna go hard on the purse metaphor because I'm feeling excited about the purse metaphor. So like think about all the little shit that's in there. And taking one of those things out will never help you get organized or or have more space.
Or know what's
One,
there.
yes. And so yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like cleaning out one chapstick doesn't give you a clean junk drawer, but dumping the entire drawer out, taking an inventory of all the stuff that's there, and then getting organized with the stuff that's there and then putting it all away or getting rid of it or finding a new system or whatever. Yes, okay, that's such a great point, and I feel like I, excuse me, I feel like I have been trying to rearrange like one little thing at a time.
And that's
Hmm.
not to say, like I have also, it's easy for me to kind of fall into this place of like, okay, so like what I'm saying to myself is that if I change one thing, I have to literally change every single thing. Two parts to that. One, that is not what that is not the truth. But two, absolutely changing one thing will shift every other thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean like my whole every area of my life is going to be completely different. But everything will shift and change if I look at it clearly. If I dump the whole thing out, let there be a mess for a little while, like there's still a mess on my floor, cool. But at some point,
Hmm.
I'm going to have to, if I really want to deal with it, which I know I do, right? So actually, now I have two choices. I can put everything back into my purse,
Hmm. Don't
or
stop with the metaphor. You're doing it and it's great. It's going really well.
or I can intentionally look at every item that has ended up on my floor and then put it where it belongs
Or make a space for it.
and organize it in the way that makes sense for me right now.
Hmm.
So something else I noticed about my purse is that its contents are constantly evolving to serve what I'm doing that day or
Hmm.
where I am in my life or like what I need. And so that too, right? Unless we are like looking at what's right in front of us poured out, all of the mess, all of the pieces, yeah, we can't just like pick up one thing and leave the rest. It all, because even, this is so good. So even if I like move the sweatshirt that's like underneath some of the other things that I dumped out of my purse onto the floor, things move when I move the sweatshirt. Everything adjusts.
Hmm.
And so like the getting unstuck part is like being honest about what's there. It makes me think about like all the tips I've ever been told about like money and budgeting stuff is like you have to look at it in order to get anywhere about
No,
it.
no,
I mean, I'm
no.
not saying I've got it figured out or am very good at it, but I think the same rule applies that
Hmm.
it's like you have to know what's there in order to do anything about it. And the same goes for like our self study. You have to like get curious and see what's in there in order to put anything out here into your
Yep.
life.
Hmm. Yeah. Which is a great circle back to the beginning of all of this is going, I feel stuck. That is like the first step of like unpacking the first thing out. This is the feeling. I feel stuck. Okay. What else? What else are you feeling right now?
Yeah, and then I think a really important next step for me over and over again is like dropping the timeline related to that. Right? So like
Hmm.
learning that it's okay if I go multiple days in a row and the only part of the inquiry I get to is I feel stuck.
Hmm.
I still feel stuck. But just acknowledging that awareness, I start to engage with my life through the knowing lens of something in me feels stuck. So then there's like a curiosity, like, is it this thing? How do I feel when I'm doing this thing?
Hmm.
What's going on over here? What's underneath that?
Hmm.
Wow, I felt good when I talked to this person. What is that? Maybe that means something. It's like it's like playing investigator. You're like
Mm-hmm.
investigating the pieces of your life. And that's something too that's been really helpful for me in the last few weeks that I've told you a few times is I'm like, I would like for everything to just kind of be a game. Like let it be playful. So like when I get stuck, it doesn't have to be like my whole life is coming to a halt because I'm stuck and I must have done life wrong in order to be stuck. And if I can't fix it in 6 hours, then I must be stuck forever. And instead, let me just play a game about it. I feel stuck. What's over here? I
Mm-hmm.
feel stuck. What's it like to do that? Talk
Yeah,
it
like
out.
how long has your purse been like that?
Oh,
Actually, just really full.
like so full, like a day.
Oh, you haven't been like rotating that same stuff?
I mean, so okay. Some of the things have been there.
Okay, okay.
Some of the things have been there a very long time. Some of them were like I had some cords that did live in this super nifty cord holder,
I love
but
it.
at some point I got lazy and there was just the cord holder and then the cords. And then some of the things were added in the last week, and then the clothes really topped it all off. Just some
Yep,
sweaters like stuffed around all the things that already existed.
yep. And so that's the deal, right? Um, I've done all sorts of stuff this year to like going in and out of stuckness has been like a very real feeling because the really like real stuff is like we're kind of stuck at home right now a little bit, right? Like routines drastically changed and it's like okay, you're in your house. So like little things. My roommate and I have moved around our furniture a bunch of different times. So just like your cord thing, you get the cord thing, it's going to be a great way to organize your stuff. If you do not put your stuff back into the cord thing, all of a sudden your shit is totally unfucking organized. So like we even have to engage with the systems that we've created for ourselves. And and even if every day you put your cords back into that one thing, it does not mean that your other stuff isn't going to be shifted around as well in there. So like yesterday, for instance, woke up, told a friend, feel fucking stuck. She was like, "Great, let's go. I got this." So we were going to go get some coffee, go on a hike, and it's just like one thing after the other like didn't work out like we wanted it to, like one thing after the other. But in days past I've been like I feel stuck today, close everything, go on a hike, get a cup of coffee and go on a hike, and that has been exactly what I needed. Yesterday it just wasn't, and that's just like a new piece of information. It doesn't mean that like I failed at the hike. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't even mean that that won't work next time.
Hmm. Yep. And it's like maybe it sounds like I know for me, it sounds like some other things need to be rearranged, right? Like I need to dump the proverbial purse out and do a little bit of rearranging, like dig a little. And yesterday I
Yeah.
was not able to dig. I didn't want to dig yesterday.
Mm-mm.
And it's just
No,
like that sometimes.
sometimes when I feel like I'm stuck in the mud, it is like all I can do to lay down in the mud.
Yeah. Like sometimes it's like I just need to experience this.
Here, let's have a mud bath.
Yes. Let's roll around in the stuckness. I mean, why not? Let's turn it into a game. I feel stuck. Ooh,
Cute.
fun. Okay, yeah, okay, cute. So this whole week we're going to be talking about how cute the game of Stuck is.
What we can do with ourselves and each other to navigate it
Mm-hmm.
like a game, like a
Yep.
playful thing to be curious about. Um, that you will figure out your own pieces for too, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
so important. And like the way that we teach and lead and facilitate is like Kate and I don't have answers for you.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that
That's
tells
why
you
we
they
wanted
have,
to have this conversation because like I feel like what you have really witnessed in the past 25 minutes is us being like and like, but that's true. Like, it's just like that sometimes. And so, like, we're the idea, and I think where people get really messed up with self-work and self-study is that like you'll never feel XYZ if this, or like you're you won't ever blow up in anger at somebody if this, or you won't ever have this if this. And it's like, no, y'all, we're human beings, especially right now. We're living in a world that I've never lived in before. I've never done coronavirus before. Um, like I've never lived through this time before, neither have you, neither have any of us. So it's this like life is like this unpacking, like discovery thing. And we're never going to just be in this linear way. It's never going to look like this. It's never going to look like this. It's going to be swirly all over the place. And we get to be swirly in it together and share that stuff together.
Yeah,
Like
and something.
even out loud, Ruby, like you sharing the process of unpacking the purse, that gave me like a new, I like some ideas of how to unpack my own stuff. And so that's the importance of community in this.
Yeah, and something I hear you speaking to with that if this then this is this idea that's like if I am aligned or like where I'm supposed to be or like doing my calling or like making an impact, then I won't ever get stuck. It will always be flowing.
And let me tell you, the past 6 years of my life with Get Fit 615 has felt the most aligned. Like I have felt within the past 6 years of my work very, very aligned. And so my point is that I even have felt aligned and I have felt very stuck in many different moments throughout that same feeling of alignment. So yeah, so exactly what you're saying is that even if you do feel this like sense of alignment, it's not always going to feel that way, and that is okay. There doesn't have to be a panic.
Yes, all like if you're feeling stuck, it doesn't all of a sudden mean that you're doing everything wrong
Hmm.
or that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or that you've fucked up in some way. If you're
Hmm.
feeling stuck, that's just normal because first of all, humans are animals. And let's like take a few steps back and like have your basic needs been met? Have you been sleeping? Have you drank water? Have you had food? Have you had connection? So baseline. And then second of all is like life is that ebb and flow. So it's like you just expect like some moments are going to feel stuck because we are made of energy. And while energy is neither created nor destroyed, and there is always like an abundance of energy, energy shifts.
Hmm.
Energy is constantly shifting. For like if you're outputting all the time, then it makes sense eventually that your energy is going to be like we're stuck because we have nothing else to put out there. So it's like starting to take inventory of like what's your input output is another way of like just seeing your stuckness and knowing that it's normal. Is like, are your basic needs met? Because at baseline, human beings are animals. And then also, though we have these like smart brains and awareness of our energy, we have so much awareness of our energy that we mistreat our energy. Because I think about like a cat, and when a cat gets tired, a cat goes and lays in the sun. Doesn't think about the energy. It just is like that's how I get more energy.
Hmm. Yeah, and what you were just saying too, like, so say we're always in this, if we're in this process of growth, um, and part of what our basic needs includes is the need to express ourselves and feel seen, feel understood, be seen as a person, in who we are. It only makes sense that if we're in this process of continuous evolution of who that is, that we need continuing shifting of how we are able to express and with whom and in what ways. And so it makes sense that this is always going to be a learning process of who am I and how do I like to express her, for me.
Yeah, and like that's okay. So in that way, like if we're thinking about it in that way, then stuckness really is just an indicator and a kind of like a notion, like a reminder to pause and to check in and to say like, am I aligning with like who she deep down wants to be and express out, or like what have I kind of like missed, and how can I repair and restore that, or how can I like come back into the dance with myself and how she wants to express. Because a lot of times stuckness, yeah, it can be an energetic thing, it can be that basic needs are met, it can also, right, because we have these like really smart brains, a mental thing. Like I think about being stuck in like a mental block or like a creative block, like it feels, it's like in the brain, and the brain latches on to things that don't change. The brain doesn't want things to change. The brain wants there to be one way. The brain wants you to be how you are right now forever. Creativity is the opposite of that. And so even that awareness is like, okay, actually, brain, I choose to also believe, though, that I am constantly evolving and discovering who I really am. And that's not like, I don't expect who I am a month from now to look identical to how I experience myself right now. And kind of like giving up and setting aside and choosing beyond those labels that we put on ourselves. Even the label of like, I do self work, or like, I'm a leader in the wellness industry, like whatever, like though any kind of self identifier, while it can be helpful in helping us navigate our roles and the systems of the world, is in some ways limiting us and contributing to stuckness.
Yeah, and so it's like, and okay, so if the brain is, the brain doesn't want to do new things all the time because there is comfort and safety in knowing now. Like I know this, I get this, there's comfort here, there's belonging here, there's safety, just general safety. Yeah, like doesn't even matter about like, I mean, I guess belonging is part of like feeling safe, but there's general safety here, so we're going to keep it like that. And so honoring that when there's stuckness, I mean, for me, when there's stuckness, also there's a little bit of fear because something is going to have to shift. And there's fear. So I feel stuck and I feel legitimately afraid. And like with love and grace, going to hold those.
Yeah, okay, yes. And then we're going to talk about consistency more later this week, but then I think about consistency. And so the more consistent that we are with our relationship with ourselves, then in those moments of fear and stuckness, there is the capacity to feel safe with myself and with my trusted community, which does indicate something to the brain, that like the brain is like, oh, but I'm afraid because you're going to change something because you've recognized that we feel stuck. Oh no, I'm going to run away from change. But through consistent self-study and relationship with myself and community, then when those moments come up, there is also a part in me that is like, no, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay even if something changes, and having this like inner dialogue. But it's that consistency that creates a baseline, like a foundation of safety that's not so contingent upon my outward circumstances. Because often, like, usually when I'm stuck, something has to change. Something has to tangibly change. Like sometimes there's maybe something small inside me that I can like tweak or whatever, but usually there has to be an external representation of what needs to be shifted.
Mhm. Like
But
in like saying to somebody, this, or like
yeah,
actually
speaking
like,
out loud or
yeah.
doing it or like actually changing something in my life.
Hmm.
Um, but that kind of like consistency of being in the self work and like being with myself and with those who I trust creates the safety that, yeah, then in those moments of being stuck, I'm not so reliant on I'm not talking about physical safety here, but like the energetic, like the brain's sense of safety of a circumstance. I can make a change knowing that I am going to be okay. Like who I am is safe. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think about like there's elements of what that means, and this is probably a whole thing that we can talk about resilience. Um, but it's like, so, so there has to be a level of awareness, right? That has to be there consistently. Like I want a consistent amount, a level of awareness about what I've got going on here. And then like consistently what creates a safe container for ourselves is a level of kindness and care and compassion, so that when it seems like everything in your world or whatever is, there's still this like space to come home to. And it's like, I feel stuck, I feel bored, I feel all these things. And it's like, no matter what you feel, like I love you and I care about you. And I want to learn more about what you're feeling.
Thank you for letting me know.
Hmm. Thanks for letting me know. I wouldn't have seen that without you. I wouldn't have seen, I wouldn't have known there needed to be a shift without this sort of like discomfort that you've just spewed in my face. This feeling of stuckness. Thank you for that.
Self.
So, yeah, but like that like internal safety, sometimes those things are like um even just like an exhale with like, oh, that's okay that I feel this way. It's okay. This doesn't mean anything about me and who I am. But those things have to exist in order to explore them. It doesn't make sense that we can explore those things without creating a feeling of safety for ourselves.
Yeah, we have to make room for curiosity.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and creativity. Hmm.
Yeah, and often like creativity comes out of, like you said, like boredom creates space for creativity. Messes create space for creativity. There's an
Hmm.
opportunity to see the contents of my purse in a brand new way when it's
Hmm.
laid out in a mess on the floor.
Yeah. Messiness.
Mm-hmm. Hey, can I share something that's also kind of I don't know if I would say ironic, but just interesting. So when I came, I was kind of on my way home um, before I poured my purse out on the floor, and the way that my like driveway is set up is like it's one way, and so you pull in and then you like park there, but then there is like another parking lot on the lower level. And I went to pull into the one way, and there was a mound of dirt blocking the road.
LOL.
And so I had to back up into the main road, drive around the parking lot. There were just the landscaping people totally blocking everything. I was like,
It's
am I
like that sometimes.
physically stuck? Am I going to be stuck out of parking my car and getting in my house? So finally I got parked. Then I had to carry this overflowing purse from my car to the house, which, it was 50 yards, but felt a lot longer. And then now here they are just clearing away the dirt, just one scoop at a
Well,
time.
look at them. They're about to let you back in that way.
I know I'm going to be able to drive on it very soon. And that's
Wow.
kind of,
LOL. Sometimes there's a huge block and you have to do everything you can to go around it. to get back home to a safe place. And then once you get home to your safe place, somehow that block seems to go away one shovelful at a time. Well, well, well. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk today.
Okay, and you know what I love about this too is like there was a part of me today that was like, maybe we won't do an IGTV today because I am just like not in the mood and like whatever. But just like over and over again, the the potency of showing up
Mm-hmm.
just like is almost like indescribable. So it's just like when it comes to like doing self work and like having a relationship with myself, and then like we would love to have you for the self study program. The important part is showing up. Just
Mm-hmm.
like show up when you don't want to show up, and that consistency. Again, we're definitely gonna have to talk about consistency later this week.
Mm-hmm.
Creates the ahas, because in another iteration of today, maybe in a parallel universe of today, um we never had this conversation about stuckness, and I was just fucking pissed off that there was dirt and I couldn't get into my house,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was probably going to try a hike again today. And I know it's not what I need. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to be back this week, all week long, talking about this feeling of stuckness. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
also something to echo what you've just said, Ruby, like something that's important to me and has always been important in like, just like when we talk about like our work is like, and something that we have felt frustrated about is this whole like these lies that exist within this idea of self-work that is like that say if this then this, if this then this, and what we hope to be about is if this then opportunity for discovery, if this then opportunity for discovery, like letting go of the answers and the perfection that um seem to often be told to us that that's what's supposed to come along with this work. Did that make sense? Do you need to?
Yeah, no, I think, and what kind of came to mind is like giving up the algorithm that you've like
Mm-hmm.
made up in your mind about things. It's
Mm-hmm.
not your fault you made it up. We all have those algorithms running in our minds. We have a lot of the same ones, but it's like giving up the algorithm in order to discover what's really available. Like, how many times have you on Instagram? Maybe not, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, I only see the same three people's things because
Mm-hmm.
of the algorithm. And I stopped believing that like anything else exists beyond those like five accounts or whatever, right? But but if we can push through and get rid of or rearrange out of the algorithm, all of a sudden, I mean, there are millions of Instagram accounts that
Mm-hmm.
could be discovered. You know, it's like,
And it's that is like it the translation of that to like life is we're putting out here, we're always out here, and it's like come home. What's in here? And the opportunity to discover what is in here is never ending, always expanding, never linear, multidimensional, no answers, only discovery,
limitless.
limitless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we just like to be in that work with you. And we always, always, always learn new things when we do these kinds of programs. And we are thrilled to have the self-study program. It begins in March. And so there's space for plenty of questions in both of our link trees on our accounts. There is a set up a call with us link.
And
Um,
also, so one more thing about like stuckness as it pertains to this. Um, One way, and we'll talk more about this, is like later this week of like getting unstuck is to do one small thing. And so if you've already decided that like you want to do the self-study program, but you haven't sent in your application yet, it takes like 15 minutes. Just
Do it.
And then you are automatically one step closer. There's like a shift of energy, right? There
Mm-hmm.
is with every action, there's a shift of energy. So just
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and turn in your application. Even if you don't know what your payment plan is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
even if you need a scholarship, turn in your
Do
application
it.
and then we'll have a conversation. Then you are like, you're doing it, you're committed. And then all of a sudden, like, you are already engaging in the framework of accountability and community that we are going to facilitate through the program. So if
Mm-hmm.
you've been thinking about it, if you have questions, sign up for a call in our link tree. If you already know you want to do it, just apply.
Yeah, one of the
Take the
fastest
action.
ways to get unstuck is to do something. Do something. You'll at least learn something about it in the process. But like, oh, you're feeling stuck. Oh, then I'll just keep scrolling through Instagram until you find the next thing. Make a choice. Choose something. Go here. Go inward. Like if you've decided you want to do this program, sign up. Do it. Take an action step. We would love to get that process rolling with you. You apply, we talk about it, we figure out a payment plan. And then, yeah, and then you're here, committed with us. And then you have
Cool.
something to look forward to. What do you
Oh
have
my
to look
gosh, right?
forward to? Yes.
And having something to look forward to is another, like, for me, like, a very helpful thing in navigating stuckness.
Same. I'm
Like,
looking
I'm very
forward
much
to
looking forward
driving down. Yeah, me too. I'm going down to Athens
Kate's
on.
gonna be here on Friday.
Yeah, I was also considering, I'll look at my calendar, but there's a chance I could come on Thursday.
Great. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in today, everybody.
Okay, thanks.
See you
See you in the
tomorrow.
application section.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't wait to see your application come through.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to
See you
you tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Bye.